At what point do we draw the line and say, all right, we have done this way too long. We look like a bunch of idiots and we need to officiate the rough driving. I'd love to see NASCAR drop the hammer. And right now there's nobody to tell these kids that that's wrong. Welcome to Kevin Harvick's Happy Hour, presented by Echo Park Automotive and NASCAR and Fox. I'm Kevin Harvick. She's Kaitlyn Vincie. And our man, Mamba Smith.
Yeah.
Hey, what's going on?
You look good today, Mamba.
Thanks.
I like this look.
Oh, well,
it's working for you.
My stylist, Cora, does a really good job. So
Your stylist, you said?
Yeah, I got to give her credit.
Oh,
You
he
have a
has a stylist?
Yeah.
Wow.
She-
I'm
I
impressed.
think everything I'm wearing right now, she picked out. So,
Really?
So are these your clothes or does she bring them to you?
well, they're my clothes that I paid
You
for,
have
but
clothes.
she brings them to me.
Okay.
She picks them out.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, did you get a hammer for your carpenter pants that
No,
you had
but-
on this weekend?
Well, these pants have it too because these are from the same. So what you can't see is there's a big loop on my pants.
They're carpenter pants.
Yeah, okay, sure, whatever. And
It looks like they've been painted in before as
I
well.
know. And John Hunter Nemechek took one of the big rubber mallets.
Yeah.
And he ran into the garage and came back out and slid
That's funny.
into the loop.
It's very much proof that what's old is new again.
Always.
That's true.
I mean, I feel like I wore those pants as a kid.
Yeah.
Styles cycle back through.
Yeah.
It's a
And now if the
rotation.
Bugle Boy pants come back,
You're in?
no, I'm not in.
Oh, okay.
But
Looks like I'm
it-
wearing flares, and those are from the 70s.
Well, we could
Yeah.
pin them. Did you used to pin your pants?
No.
Did you
I haven't
pin yours?
done that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Used to pin them.
Look, Kevin's he's coming back. You know,
He is.
He's coming back in
He's
style, too.
educating us now in fashion.
I'm here for it.
I'm just letting you
Here
know
for
what
it,
the
too.
next
What's
the next
coming?
fad could be.
Next fad could be. The next fad for us is going to be Darlington. We're headed there next.
Yep.
We have a big show on tap today, recapping everything that happened in Martinsville, of course, previewing Throwback Weekend, and you have your sips. It's going to be a good show.
Harvick Happy Pod on all the socials. Keep chatting up. We had a ton of closers. Shout out to y'all at Martinsville because there was a lot of people that came up to me and were telling me how much they love the show.
That's awesome.
Dexter, this kid Dexter races quarter midget up in New Jersey.
Had his whole sales
Had
pitch.
a whole sales pitch.
It was
Gave
a
one to
great
Kevin.
idea. His
What?
hero
Super
card was
cool.
his sales on the back. It was like his brochure of what he had for sale.
Yeah, he had
How much
he had
you-
the gold, silver, and bronze.
Yeah, all his packages.
His packages
Oh,
for sponsor.
neat.
He actually sent one here for you.
Oh, that's cool.
But yeah, a lot of
Yeah,
clothes.
he
out
needs
there.
tires. Maybe you could buy him a set of tires.
Yeah, it's a quarter midget. It's small.
Sure. I'll
Yeah.
be in there. I'll be a sponsor.
There you go.
I like that.
All right.
Well, good. I'm glad to hear people were coming up to you and supporting the show.
No,
That's
they
good.
love it, and
Yeah.
we love you for loving it.
Yeah, that's right. And I screwed this up last week, so I am not screwing it up today. He had a great word of the week.
Yeah, let's get it right off the top. He did, and I think he slid it in there so well that
No one
your
noticed.
compadres, Mike and Clint, didn't even notice.
Absolutely. And I have a new strategy. I'm trying not to tell them
Yeah.
because the week that I asked Mike, he was spot on to just saying the word correctly and immediately going after it. This week, they didn't even notice.
I didn't even notice. I wonder if anyone else noticed. Roll the tape.
To stay on that lead lap. Try to put some distance between them and that guy right there, your leader.
Well, that guy right there, he's been bussing all day. It's fun to watch him drive this racetrack and the way that his style is sliding up the racetrack and the drive up off the corner. We saw it at Bowman Gray. Seems to be the same thing again today.
Busting or busting
Well done.
ass. He was getting it done.
He was
You want-
bussing the first half of the race,
Yeah.
and then they had a bad pit stop and wound up not really getting the track position back.
Dotting all the T's and crossing all the I's.
That's
Tough
right.
to do in today's world.
It really is. But good job by you on the word.
Well,
I mean,
thanks.
you're getting
Yeah.
so smooth at it.
That was
people
pretty
don't
easy.
even notice. Hey,
Yeah.
you got to get a little harder this week.
Listen, well, listen. The big vocab words are fun, but I thought I thought
It was way less stressful, and I spoke normally instead of trying to pronounce the word correctly.
Yeah. This was a low
because I get
stress.
terrified when the words are hard, and that's when they come quickly in the race.
I love
I
that.
see.
Yeah.
It's throwback weekend, so maybe we need to have an old school term. right?
Ooh, I like that.
You know, maybe
Yeah,
we could
it's a good
do that.
idea.
Yeah.
It fits in with the
If someone
theme.
can send me a Squireism, that'd be fire.
Squireism.
A Squireism would be
There
great.
you go. Kerfuffle was very popular.
It was.
So
It was.
we'll have to see. Okay, so guys, before the season even began, we identified Denny Hamlin and his new crew chief pairing. They were a team that we were curious to see how this was going to play out. Well, it really hasn't taken them that long to get a win and a big moment for them.
And I was fortunate to spend some time with Denny this morning on the victory lap. To be able to listen to his recap of the weekend but watching the race from the booth and watching practice, it was pretty evident right off the bat that Denny Hamlin's car was really good. And we heard him talk about having a new setup in the car, knowing that they needed to come to Martinsville and be able to put on a performance like they did. I think they led 270 some laps to go out and dominate the race. So that's old school Denny Hamlin.
Yep.
And when you look at old school Denny Hamlin at Martinsville, being able to kind of flip the script, and everything we had was you had to be 30 and under to win the next gen car at Martinsville. Denny Hamlin's 44, winning one for the old guys. I really enjoy that when the old guys win. And you know, I think for Denny, this was an important moment, and I wish he would have just stayed out of the car right there and not pulled that flag out.
Why not?
Everybody was cheering.
Yeah.
Everybody was cheering, and Denny was in a great spot, and then he pulled the flag out, and I don't know that it was all cheers, because right now I think everybody's learning a lot about Denny Hamlin. I think he takes a lot of flack for a lot of the things that he says on his podcasts and taunting the fans and all those things that come with this. And Denny's a leader. Denny's puts a lot of work into his craft. This is hard. He had a crew chief change, and hearing him talk about having to make a decision. Did he want to put the work and the time into another crew chief? He had a great system with Chris Gabehart. He had a circle of life that was well balanced, and bringing Chris Gale in, he knew that this was going to be a disruption to the rest of his life. And he put the time and the effort in to get through the offseason, the first few weeks of the season. And here we are, 6 weeks or so into the season, and he's in victory lane. So I think that says a lot about who he is as a driver and a leader.
Yeah. And what did you make of his win and also the 11 against the world?
I like watching that stuff because I like when you kind of poke the competitors and but there is a thing where we've talked about before, once you do something and then someone steals your celebration and it gets a little, so you gotta be careful. But Denny don't care. He likes talking. He said it in the interview, in his post-race interview. He likes talking shit. He's a competitor like that. And I like it. I think it's good for sports and guys like that. I was able to do a post-race interview with it. There it is right there. I mean,
that thing was ready to go.
He's enjoying that a lot. I gotta be honest.
That's funny.
I did a post-race interview with Chris Gale, and what I didn't realize was not only like the rest of the team is intact. Like Chris Gale was really like one of the only pieces that changed.
That's true, yes.
So he's not only getting into the system with Denny, but the entire team, which is different because a lot of times, the crew chief is setting the system. Well, now he's kind of coming into the system that's already been working. And I think something that I really didn't know or realize was all of his drivers have been young guys. He's either had to groom to get to this top level of Cup and with Eric Jones, they were both rookies. He was a rookie crew chief. Eric Jones was a rookie driver. So having a veteran guy and now giving you back that confidence, because I think he hasn't won since 2019 in the Cup Series. So having that confidence with a guy like Denny Hamlin.
And the other thing that always amazes me with Denny is just how much he can manage. We all know about the lawsuit. We all know about 2311 with everything that he does. So to be able to add in that extra piece of having to start over with the new crew chief, I mean, that is a ton of work.
Late in your career, too.
And late in your career, and for me, I was fortunate because I had Rodney and Cheddar and all the pieces on the 4-car that were intact to be able to maintain that system all the way to the end. Those guys rode it out all the way to the end with me. So that routine that you develop, you build your whole life around.
Yep.
You develop your routine in life develops around what the requirements are of your racing schedule and your race team to prepare for the race. Next gen brings another layer of work there's a lot of work because the details are so small to be able to find an advantage. And for guys like myself and Denny to retrain yourself how to drive these cars and how to talk about these cars and what makes this car tick, it just takes a lot of time. So it'll be interesting to see if he can manage and maintain that level all season long now. And now that they've got that first win, he's a winner. I think the ultimate goal is that championship. But in order to get to that point, you got to maintain that championship level all season. That's always the most difficult part for all of us that have driven, the guys that do drive. To maintain that level week in and week out is so difficult.
He's a walking Hall of Famer.
He is.
Right? Like, first ballot, it's not even a question. I appreciate him just making that decision, being open about, do I want to put the work in? Because everyone will tell you that they do. And then when you watch what they do, you're like, I don't know how much this person's really trying at this craft. You know what I mean? So for him to be open about making that decision and it translating, because they were having good success. I think anyone would want the seasons that Denny has had in the last couple of years. They win races every year, but it wasn't great. You know what I mean? So for him to lock in with a new crew chief and want to get to that next level, yet still is huge.
And you can put that right to Bubba Wallace. I know we're going to talk about him. Another great run from Bubba this weekend. Fast in practice, fast in all the averages, in contention at the front of the field again. So when I did the interview with Bubba this week that we'll have on Thursday, it is the exact same thing. You have to be able to find the details and put the work in and do the things that it takes. And that's what Bubba talked about with Charles. And being able to have a structured system and understand the type of work and time that it takes to revolve your life around racing. You design everything that you do around that race schedule. And Bubba is finally at a point where he realizes that and has got his circle of life under control and new dad and really everything that he has going on has shown the results in a much different way from Bubba in the past.
Yeah, top 3 finishes 2 weeks in a row for Bubba. After the race, he said it's fun to have fun. And you can tell that he really is enjoying this, and it's cool to see that team starting to come together.
Yeah, I after I realized how much work Charles Denny has done at Martinsville with the truck side and how good they are, I'm like, dang, I really should have picked Bubba to win the races because Bubba's really good there too.
Yeah,
he likes Martinsville and he's won a truck race at Martinsville and now Charles is there and he's good. So I love seeing it. I love seeing a friend having fun at what he's great at. And he's starting to excel the way that I think a lot of us have always known was inside in him. Now he's managing the second places, right? And the third places. Like he wants to break the door down, but it's like, just keep putting yourself in position to be there. Keep being fast. Because once you do, he'll probably click off 2 or 3 instead of just a 1.
Yeah.
Right? And that whole team, the pit crew has been lights out.
So when he wins the first time with a headline B, Nike strikes again.
Maybe.
I tried to convince Clint that Charles's last name was Denike.
Did you? With the E? Because it has an E at the end.
That's funny.
Yeah.
How close were you to getting Clint to say?
I mean, it was there for a second, but not long.
Not
There
long
for a
enough.
second.
He thought about it.
Yeah, I think Mike corrected me because he didn't want Clint to go too far down the
Down
road.
the rabbit hole.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I see some sort of Nike something.
Yeah.
Right?
Charles, man, I'm going to be honest. Like, I've known Charles for a long time, and he's just a hard worker, and he has that engineering background. And I think a lot of people would be surprised to see a guy go from trucks all the way to Cup.
That's true.
So Rudy did it.
But, Rudy did it, and he had a lot of success, and Rudy did it with someone that he really believes in. I think that belief in your driver, too, allows you to do that pretty flawlessly.
So Bubba Wallace with the top 3 performance. Also in the top 3 was Christopher Bell. The Toyota's Joe Gibbs, very good all day. And you could tell Christopher Bell was just relieved after some tough races for that team prior.
Well, I mean, Christopher Bell laid in the weeds and just led us down this path that he was going to be terrible. He wasn't going to qualify good. Wound up getting the pole. And I'll be honest, I didn't think from practice, it didn't sound like he thought his car was very good. And then they go out and qualify early and wind up getting the pole, for Sunday. So I think that put him in a really good spot to be able to capitalize on the first pit stall, track position, and all those things. And then in that first stage, he starts to fade. just a little bit, starts to bleed some positions. But they made their car better all day, and by the time the end of the race came around, he wasn't in the same league as Denny Hamlin, but they had made their car better, and they needed to stop the bleeding, and that's next gen racing though. You're gonna bleed. You're gonna bleed.
It's gonna hurt sometimes.
At some point, you're gonna go from winning 3 races to looking like you.
Bag of shit.
Bag of shit. That's all you got.
Like you don't know what you're doing, and for those guys to rebound, and that's the kind of mental toughness that you need to be able to be successful in today's NASCAR world, or understanding that you're going to bleed some of those days and not like it.
Yeah, I mean, Christopher Bell, he's just in this interesting space right now, right? He coming off all those wins, and then he kind of got off cycle for whatever reason, or whatever you might want to call it.
Spun out by himself last week at Homestead.
At Homestead, like that's another in his wheelhouse. Like we were really sitting here like, 4 in a row is that is well possible. On the table, very possible. And just they didn't hit it. I think it's interesting with the Toyotas in general in Martinsville, because the power struggle of Martinsville, it's so important, because if you're good there and you can go win there and then get into the final round, get in the championship race, that's huge, right? Yeah. We've seen whether it's the 9 with Chase Elliott from Hendrick or Blaney with Team Penske, like those guys have kind of been controlling this racetrack, and now they got to go back to work, because the 12 wasn't as strong as they wanted to be for sure.
In practice, they looked like they were going to be one of the cars to beat. The 12 was really good in practice. And then same thing with Christopher Bell. We interview Ryan. He's like, I don't think so. And then they went and laid an egg in qualifying and had to start at the back of the pack. And it took all day for them to get back up to the front, but definitely didn't have that same dominant speed that they've had the last few times they've been there.
Speaking of Team Penske, Joey Logano finally gets his first top 10 of the year, which is hard to believe.
Mike,
thank you.
Mike about jinxed him though.
Yeah.
So Mike was like, and this was like with 90 to go or something. He's like, he's poised to finally get that top 10. See, I'm like, Mike, no way. It's a top 10, not even a win.
Final stage, I think Ross Chastain kind of pulled down in front of Chase Briscoe, who clips the curb and ultimately collected the 22, but he came back, he got 8th at least.
He did, and that's typical 22. That's
typical
Paul
22.
Wolff and Joey Logano. That's why they're still up in the points, because they've qualified well, they've dotted the I's, they've crossed the T's. When something happens bad, they're able to rebound, and that's what makes them a championship team. So, they haven't had the finishes that they need, and most of them have not been anything to do with them. I know he slid through the pits at Vegas, but for the most part, it's just been circumstances and the timing of those things happening. So, I don't think he has the lightning speed that we've seen out of the 12 car, but he's got enough speed to where
it's not like last year.
No, it's not like last year. He's got enough speed now to where he can qualify well, and he can do what he does to keep himself up in the front of the pack, and Paul can make calls and do the things that they need to. So they're not far off on speed, but not that lightning fast, blistering speed, but they always find a way, and a lot of that comes from how well they qualify.
It's also really helpful having 4 cars in house that you're really trusting the information from. Like I'm not trying to discredit Harrison Burton one bit, but when you're a rookie or a young driver trying to figure it out, and Josh Berry has so many laps, like he's able to really help those guys probably in a different way. And some other things organizationally have changed with the 21 to give them some more speed too. So now they have 4 cars that are, biting for top 5s in the hunt for wins. And that's really helpful when you're a little lost to kind of keep yourself
and I think
the right way.
We talk about Denny Hamlin and his crew chief. I think when you look at Miles and Josh Berry and the things that they've done together so far, I would call that a surprise. Now, they had some trouble this weekend. We saw a lot of batteries being put in and out of Penske cars. And finally, we put the 2-car behind the wall because we didn't have any more batteries. We were out of batteries. That was a first for me. We were parking because we don't have any more batteries.
Yeah, cars running fine. Just
very strange.
Keep the voltage up.
Yeah, that was an odd circumstance that we saw in a couple of those Penske cars.
Issues on pit road once again. William Byron loses spots in the first pit stop of the day. Alex Bowman had to pit for what he thought was a loose wheel, and a wheel comes off for SVG.
Once again, we see, I mean, they're just, like we talk every week, they're on the edge of of disaster on every pit stop. And you know, we saw the wheel come off of SVG's car. We saw it bite the 8 car again. We saw Austin Dillon blow first gear out on pit road. He had a decent day going. We saw several of the cars get jammed up and lose position. So pit road just determines so much. You need all those scenarios to go your way. And you see SVG right here spinning around after the wheel flew off. I mean, he had just come straight out of the pits up onto the racetrack and went in the corner, and the right rear tire was not on the car. But definitely affected the 24's day. It affected the 9 at the end when they lost some spots and weren't able to overcome the loss of track position. And you heard Chase talk about that at the end of the race and trying to get control of the race in the second stage. And once they lost that track position, we're never able to be a contender again. But a car like Kyle Busch's, when you consistently have that trouble on pit road like they've been having, you know, he was an 8th to 12th place car. You need those things to go right. Like we need the wheels to be tight. We don't need to drop the jack early. We don't need the wheels to fly off. We can't have speeding penalties, but it seems to bite those guys over and over and over. And right now they need to just be solid and finish 8th to 12th. And unfortunately that's not happening.
Just be solid, just finish, just do the job, make sure everything's right. Because I was talking to Todd Gillen about this yesterday, but like if you're working hard to get your car faster, right? And now the car is faster, especially if you're like a B team, like when it comes to resources and all the things. Like you don't have the pit crews, the best pit crews. So you're putting all your resources on running better. And now we're running better. Well, where's the Achilles heel now? Well, now it's on pit road.
It's the Spire situation with Carson Hocevar, right?
Like
you see that the things that they do when they have speed, usually they trip up on pit road. So it exposes new problems when you have that speed, because when you're not running good, the pressure's not on. And when the lights turn on and the pressure ramps up, that's when you see if you've got the guys that you need.
Right.
Those
guys aren't there all the time.
Right.
Yeah.
That'll be a factor this weekend. A lot of pit stops at Darlington.
For sure.
A lot of pit stops.
So do we have some new feuds brewing in the sport? I love these.
Look at her perk up. Do we have some new feuds?
Chris Busher and
Where's the
Noah
beef?
Gragson, they had a little run-in and expressing displeasure with each other out on the track. What do we think of this?
When you watch this video, I'm not sure that Busher got the message that they were checking up. Drove over the left rear of the 4 car. That happens sometimes. It's not easy to constantly get that message. So it's definitely evident that Noah was not happy after all this took place and wound up spinning around. He was waiting for him when he came back out of the pits, and I don't know exactly which fingers were flying out of the door window, but Noah was showing his displeasure with a swerve and some fingers.
Yeah.
Well,
That's Martinsville for you.
Yeah, that's pretty typical Martinsville. It's always good. We need a little bit of that.
We do.
A little bit of
Absolutely.
that fire.
And it's going to happen. That's the hardest thing to balance at Martinsville. You're going to get run into. You're going to run into somebody. You have to be aggressive. You have to push them out of the way. You have to block. So all these things that you have to do are not going to make somebody else happy.
Yeah.
And that's tough to mentally get your arms wrapped around that and how you deal with it throughout the day. And you look at the first half of the field and the way that they race, and then you look at the second half of the field. It's a completely different race in the second half of the field. It is brutal back there. You get run into, run over, too wide, door slammed, you name it, it's happening.
Especially when you're not having a great day, or when you are rebounding from a great day and then something like that happens.
Yeah.
Like, that's why what Joey did was so impressive to me, because it was late in the race when he got run over, and he was obviously mad about Ross he did a post-race interview and was mad about Ross, but he kept it straight. Yeah, Joey was. Yeah.
What'd he say?
He said that he's tired of something along the lines of he's tired of the way he keeps getting run over by the one. He feels like he keeps getting run over by Ross in all these different races. I think he's just tired of getting run over.
He's frustrated in general with the way a lot of these races have been happening.
So I think that when they get mad, they just pick the first guy that they can see.
Yeah.
Frustrations were also high on Ty Gibbs' radio, who was actually having a good day finally. We've documented how tough their season has been so far. But Tyler Reddick and him, this is another situation that resulted from Martinsville. What do you think?
Yeah, this one's a little tougher to handle because they're kind of in the same house there with Toyota.
They got the numbers are flipped. They're 45, 54. Yeah. They both have monster partnerships. They're both Toyota. Like that's a lot of.
Yeah, and after the race, we saw Tyler over at Ty's car just trying to explain his side of the story. But when you look at that scenario, it just looked to me like the 45 thought he had a hole right there. And then right as he got to that hole, the car behind him just pretty much floored it and just jammed him right into the side of the 54 car. I don't remember who was behind the 45, but it definitely spun him out. And then Ty was able to put himself back in a position to come up and they kind of stopped their bleeding as well. Qualified good, had a decent day, drove back up to 13th. So definitely that's the type of stuff. That's how you stop the bleeding. You have a decent day like that because then the next week you're in a different practice session. You're qualifying in a better position when the track is cleaner. So there's a lot of things that just happen better for you. But once you get into that cycle of having bad finishes, then you have trouble qualifying. It's really hard to get out of.
Yeah.
My favorite part of that little feud was, I think Ty said, "You guys better keep that little away from me." And I'm like, I was in the media center and everyone started laughing and I'm like, they're like the same height.
They're both small people.
Yeah, but I would go with, I think I would pick Reddick only because he's a dad, so he has dad strength automatically. And he
seems like he could be scrappy.
I've seen that. We've seen that punch from Gibbs.
That's true.
That's true.
Tyler's got some LBs on him though.
Pretty stout.
Big. Yeah.
Good little fight.
It'll be interesting to see if any of this carries over into future races, these situations with these drivers.
I think that one will probably extinguish itself pretty quick.
We'll see. But that was all the things on the Cup side. The Xfinity Series has also been very much in the news at the conclusion of that race.
Yeah.
Sammy Smith and Taylor Gray. What did you think about this whole thing? Because it is.
I thought this was a freaking mess.
Okay.
And I think that we need to add this. I think we need to put this on on a high priority for the Dunn Committee to establish a conversation with our new commissioner, Steve Phelps. Yep. So we now have a commissioner of NASCAR, Steve Phelps, and we have a new president, Steve O'Donnell. Both guys that have been around the sport for a long time, but. This Dunn committee would like to talk about some penalties, and we would like to have our penalties issued during the race. And right there, if that were any short track in the country, 8 car would have gone to the end of the lead lap, and we would have had an immediate penalty for rough driving and causing an accident. And I think that is something that needs to be addressed pretty quickly in the Xfinity and Truck Series to teach these two divisions how to race correctly. And at some point, NASCAR is going to have to get involved to issue the penalties quicker, right? We've got to make some accountability and some decisions right off the bat to enforce that accountability right on the spot, right? Like you saw the Sammy Smith's comments after the race and things that he said. It's like they don't even really care. They don't even really care what they say. They don't care what they do. And I know when I was their age, I would do the same things, but my ass would be in the trailer getting my ass reamed out by Mike Helton with Jim Hunter standing outside the door laughing and Bill France Jr. wanting to know when I was going to get suspended because made a mockery out of our show. And that's what that was. It was an absolute disaster. And I don't understand why we don't get involved from an officiating standpoint in the trucks and Xfinity. I'm not saying anything about Cup. And I hate rules. I think we have too many rules, too many things that we have to keep track of. But at what point do we draw the line and say, all right, boys and girls, we have done this way too long. We look like a bunch of idiots and we need to officiate the rough driving because they don't think that it's wrong. And without all the Cup drivers in the field to officiate it yourself, you said this earlier, without all the Cup drivers in the field and racing against all these young guys, there's nobody to teach them. So they just go out and run over each other all the time, and they just keep running over each other. So I'd love to see NASCAR drop the hammer and put these guys in a position to where they can officiate these things in the trucks and Xfinity on the spot. You spin somebody out, you go to the back. You were part of the accident. You wreck somebody like that, we're going to put you to the back of the lead lap. And on Wednesday, we might do something else. So I just think that there needs to be something that makes them think about what they're doing, because right now it is just
no accountability.
No accountability for the correct way to race. And I had to go home and sit my 12-year-old down after the race and tell him, hey, look, if I catch your ass doing anything like this, if I see anything like this, you're going to probably sit on the bench because this is wrong. And right now there's nobody to tell these kids that's wrong.
Kevin has been a proponent for some time on officiating in the moment, right? What do you think needs to happen here?
I think that officiating in the moment, I understand why maybe we haven't, but it's time to. And I think we're seeing a ripple effect. I don't think anyone would expect this ripple effect to have happened, but the Cup guys used to run you guys used to run every series almost every week. They were there all the time. You didn't want to piss off a Kevin Harvick. You didn't want to lose his respect or a Kyle Busch's respect or a Carl Edwards' respect. Like, you raced them and they taught you the way, because they would whoop that ass for most of the season and maybe take a championship away from you, but they taught you how to be ready for the Cup Series. And when the guys back then would come up, they were more prepared for Cup racing.
That's right.
And now that the Cup guys don't run but 5 and it's not even like they're maxing out the races that they can do. They just don't really do it. The fields are now these kids that are coming up from legend cars, which they get bad.
Rough.
They race rough. Then they take that and they race in late models, racing rough, and then they go into trucks.
But if that's a Cars Tour race, I mean, he's penalized before the field even crosses the line.
For sure. And that's where that part, I'm like, we need that. And I would love to see the Cup guys back in the lower series, because I really think that it's a ripple effect that no one would have thought of, okay, well, who's keeping them accountable? Because you guys did, because we were. I'd love to see somebody up in that tower with NASCAR to help them officiate those types of things quickly, right? A lot of the guys have raced up in the tower, but I just think that they got to come up with a way to be able to officiate now. Not Wednesday or Tuesday or whatever day that all this happens. It doesn't matter. It needs to be that type of call. If you really want to stop it and you don't want to see it, make the freaking call. Yeah. It's just like Austin Cindric at COTA. That call should have been made immediately. Park him, send him to the house. And if you need to do more on Tuesday or Wednesday, whenever you hand out your fines, fine. But in this instance, we saw what they did on the Cup side. To Austin Dillon. Yeah. So Richmond. Yeah. Now you don't do it to Austin Cindric, and you did it to Bubba Wallace and Chase Elliott on the Cup side for ride hooking. So now, if you don't suspend the guy, was it as bad as Austin Dillon's? I don't know. Why are we even freaking debating it? You should have already made the call, and the penalty should have been done right there on the spot.
Yeah, a line in the sand.
I don't know who that person should be, but I know that I would love a Mark Martin type person, because Mark, the way he talks about the sport on social, and everything, he's watching it and he's like, you respect him. Like, it comes down to respect.
That's right.
Right.
And there is nobody that they respect right now, because and we have a lot of great people that officiate these races, but they just got to be more stern, right? Like, if Mike Helton was in my day, if you did what Austin Cindric did at COTA, they would have parked you, and you would have sat in the hauler the whole race by yourself, waiting for them to come out of the tower. And they're going to take their time coming out of the tower, and then they're going to sit there and they're going to have, a 30 or 40 minute conversation with you, and they're going to take their time, and you're going to have a whole new perspective on life and how racing works when you leave that meeting. But now it's just a conversation, and you hear it with their interviews. They don't care. I mean, Sammy Smith pretty much said, I don't care what he thinks. I don't care what they think. I'm doing what I think I had to do. I have no respect for that guy. Well, what about the guys that got to go back and fix your car? I know that I've had my ass reamed by my team. They hated me when I would do dumb stuff like that.
Like, how frustrating that's got to be for a team.
Not only that team, but the rest of the field. Well, I want to see him siding. I want to see him bang doors. I want to see him push each other out of the way. But I don't want to see him drive in from 5 cars deep to just wipe the guy out.
Do you feel like there's a little bit of an entitlement attitude with some of these younger racers?
I just don't think they've been taught. And I don't think that, what we do is professional racing, and nobody wants to watch you drive from, I mean, anybody can hold the gas down and just drive through the guy in front of him. Like, that's just not how you do it. And if you can drive in there and maybe push him up the racetrack a little bit and knock him out of the groove, I want to see that. Like, I want to see rough racing. I like to watch race cars race rough, but I don't want to watch them race like a bunch of hacks. That's a hack move.
Kyle Busch, I mean, he said on the show, on the sit down with you, like, these guys, he literally said a couple weeks ago, they would rather wreck somebody else so they can't win than win the race themselves.
Yeah.
And that's what I felt like the Sammy Smith move was. Like, I felt like you were more about wrecking the 54 and making sure he didn't win than even giving yourself an opportunity to win, because you weren't going to win in that.
Well, guess what? It wrecked 12 more, 10 more, whatever it was.
Right. And so now all the owners are mad at you.
Yeah.
Right. And like, come on, like.
And the whole race was I mean, it's
pretty rough.
It was pretty rough. And at some point, they told the Cup guys on Sunday that they needed the word of the day needed to be respect. Cup's going to take care of itself. We watched it last year. When those guys think that they're being embarrassed on the racetrack, it's kind of like all those Indy restarts that we had a couple of years ago. They went in and said, we don't want to look like this, but you're putting us in a box that we have to do this. We changed the restart zones. It spread everything out. It's been way better. Now, we know with next gen you can be rougher. Cup's going to take care of itself, but there has to be a teaching element to this. There's nobody there to teach them how to race. Nobody. Right. The Cup guys are gone. Right. There's you've got Allgaier in there. But that's really the only real veteran in there. Almirola's in there every once in a while. But, there's no accountability for it. And the only way to do that is NASCAR to draw a line in the sand and tell them that they're going to start officiating. And if you just wipe people out on purpose, and there's going to be more penalties handed out.
If they want to be race like kids, treat them like kids.
Yep.
We will continue to follow this story and see if any penalties do result later in the week as a result of that incident. So next up is Darlington, guys. Throwback weekend. This is a really cool, iconic, historic racetrack, of course. What are you most looking forward to about heading out to South Carolina?
Well, I'm going to drive that 71 Wood Brothers car to on the pace laps, it sounds like. So I'm excited about that.
That'd be cool.
That's cool.
That'll be fun. I hope that actually still happens, and I'm not spoiling anything. But if we do, I apologize. That'll be fun. I hope Clint's car runs out of gas so that he has to get out of it on the back straightaway or something and walk back. I think that would be very entertaining for us to watch. Darlington's as good as it gets. It's one of those racetracks that hasn't changed from the very beginning of when they started racing there. It was always one of my favorite racetracks because it's narrow, it's challenging, it's never the same from lap to lap. But my car that I'm driving today is on the exact same type of racetrack and shape that it used to be however many years ago. So 50s. I love it.
You're headed out there this weekend?
Yeah, I'll be out there. I got driver intros and whatnot. I love Darlington. This is one of my, if not my favorite place to watch a race.
Yeah.
In the grandstands, you're raised up in the grandstands. You can see over everything. You can see the backstretch, the way the car is going in the corner. It looks like a roller coaster.
Unreal when you watch them.
When it gets dark, then obviously this one won't be like that. But when it's dark there, the cars look badass, man.
Yeah.
I love Darlington. I'm excited. And then Field's not too bad to have a party either. They like to get down in there.
They like to get down. She has several nicknames, this racetrack. Lady in Black, Too Tough to Tame.
Yeah.
You've done it 3 times. You've been able to win there.
That's right.
Which one stands out the most?
I think the COVID win, going back in 2020, the first time, and being able to go to Victory Lane and just realizing the moment that we were in during that particular time period. Driving to the racetrack was weird. You didn't know if you were actually supposed to be on the road. They told us that it was okay, but there was nobody on the roads. And so driving to the track was weird. You get there, you drive in, they take your temperature, you drive to your motorhome and get all your stuff is in the motorhome, and you put all your stuff on, you walk to your car, your helmet and everything carry with you, and everything else is just there. And so to win that race, and then Regan interviewing me afterward with this 6-foot pole, the microphone on it, was pretty entertaining. And Josh Williams, the spotter, all I heard after the race was, Good job, Harv. Harv.
That's
And he
got to
just
be the
echoed-
strangest thing. Like
echoed
no
through the stadium.
fans.
The strangest thing for the whole day was the national anthem, standing next to my car. And have you ever watched any of those old war movies where they would play the music in the towns that they had taken over?
Yeah.
That's what it sounded like.
That's freaky.
It was
just echoing through.
It was just hollow, nobody there recording, and just one of the strangest feelings ever. But I think on the way home, I got a call from Kevin McCarthy and from the White House and just about how proud they were of our sport and the things that we did to help get our nation back on track. NASCAR was a big part of that.
The first sport.
Yeah.
Right?
And Joe Girardi was the second call talking about, how great it was for the sports world and how he hoped Major League Baseball took notice to what NASCAR was able to do. So it was great to win that race, but it was also it's such an impactful moment for everything that we were doing in our country at that particular time.
That was a bigger moment than just sports.
Yeah, it was way bigger than a race at that point.
Mm-hmm. Pretty unbelievable. So who are you watching? What are the teams you think are going to be rising to the occasion out there at Darlington?
I think someone that needs a little get back at Darlington is Chris Buescher.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm not gonna say he had it won, but they were right there. And then him and Reddick tangle, and Brad got the win, so the company still won, but Chris didn't. They've been like sneaky good.
Yeah,
him in the 60 both. So I think that they probably feel like not that one owes you one because they never owe you one, but they want to get this one back for sure.
Yeah, and I think they'll be solid. I don't think they'll have the speed to be able to compete with the Toyotas and Hendrick cars. I just think that right now those guys they're elite compared to a lot of the cars out there. I think that it seems to be really hard to say who's going to hit it right now because the way that
you've been hitting it pretty well recently.
Yeah, it's been okay, but I'm a professional, so the way that the cars started the year with the rules being more even is different than it has been the last several years. So there's less to figure out, and I think that's why we've seen some variance in what some of the next gen notes and history would tell you. When you look at the Hendrick cars this weekend, we would have expected more of those cars to be good, but really in the end, the only one that was up there was the 9 consistently. 5 was around, 24 had trouble, 48 had trouble. So it'll be interesting to me, but I think that the 5 and the 11 are going to be, the 5 is going to be hard to beat. Just with how good he is at what he does up next to the fence. But Denny Hamlin is, they've got some momentum now, and I believe that his experience and how good he is at that racetrack also, you kind of have to lean his way a little bit as well.
You mentioned a little bit about how tough of a place it is. What is required of a driver and team to win there?
Well, with the next gen car, that changed a little bit. I was always, able to run lower on the racetrack and find that gray racetrack. With this next gen car, you've got to get the angle right, getting into the corner, and the way that you when to downshift and when to run it in 5th gear and making some of those choices as you run. Denny and Kyle Larson are really good at the way that they get the arc into turn 1 and they can get themselves through the center of the corner, because it's hard to get this car down the hill without being tight and giving up too much speed to the exit of turn 2. Now, that patch that they've added with the asphalt has kind of taken away a little bit of the element of bouncing and grip and things that come with that corner. But the way that they run the limiters, it's really easy to get the car to bottom out off the end of that patch. But you got to be comfortable running high with a bigger arc getting in the corner to get this car through the center of the corner and be able to carry the momentum that you need. And it also really, really, really helps the tires to keep the car off the apron into 1 and off the bottom of the racetrack through 3 and 4. You can do it, but it's going to give up life.
A lot to manage for sure for the drivers. Throwback weekend. Are you guys dressing vintage? Because we've done that. You're not. Okay, because we've done that in the past.
What do you mean they are?
I said if they are, I'm not.
If they
He's
are.
not. He's here in 2025. Present.
I'm not in. I love the weekend, but I'm not participating.
You don't want a costume.
It's not Halloween.
What about a bow tie?
No, I'm not wearing a bow tie.
Just very matter of fact over there. What are you going to wear?
Nope.
You probably got something cool.
I don't. It's only Tuesday.
Okay, sorry.
It's too
His
early.
clothes aren't picked out yet.
His
When you have a
stylist hasn't
stylist,
gotten to him
you
yet.
don't know what your outfit's
You
going to
never
look
know.
like
You
yet.
never know, but I promise I'll have something cool on.
I know. I'm excited to see it on Instagram.
I'll have something very similar to what I wear every week on. So.
Yeah, you're consistent.
There
Yeah.
you go. It's probably a suit. All right. Well, we look forward to it this weekend out at Darlington. Time now for everyone's favorite part of the show, as he loves to say.
That's his
Fill your
opinion,
line.
not ours.
The closers have been telling me that it's their favorite part of the
Okay.
show as well. So
Let's hope it lives up to their
if you're hearing
expectations
it,
this week.
it's because people are saying it. America, welcome to Mamba's Social Sips.
This guy.
Now, I want to start out giving a nod to a guy that's just been a grinder in the NASCAR space, Daniel Hemrick.
Yes.
Getting that victory in the Truck Series, where some people are like, racing in the lower series doesn't mean anything, and this, that, and the other. I say nay. And Daniel Hemrick, buddy, you did a great job. And Bill McAnally and the Hegerman race team, they've been around for a long time. So it was a really big deal for the sport. And we got to see a backflip.
It was very cool. And I did this race on pit road.
You
So
did a
I
great
talked
job.
to Daniel, thanks, before the race for a while about making the switch to go back to trucks. And he was saying just like, all I've ever wanted to do is just be competitive, no matter what series it's in. And he said too, for his family and where he's at this point in life, it works for him. The schedule isn't as crazy as Cup, obviously. So a really genuine dude. I'm very happy for
And
them
that's
and that team.
that's what the Truck Series was really built off of, right? You look back
can you
at
explain
Hornaday
that?
and you look back at Skinner and you look at Todd Bodine and you look at Matt Crafton and some of these guys that have gone and finished their career there. And I really envision the possibility of Daniel Hemrick being able to make a good truck career out of what he's done, be successful, win races, and be able to race 24, 25 times a year and have that family life and be able to balance that circle of life and make a good living at it. So I hope it works out for him because that's a win for the good guys.
Yeah,
I
for
agree.
Sure. Listen, everyone wants to be on Sundays, but there's
It's not a reality for everybody.
Right, and there's a bigger thing that you can impact if you become a vet, a cornerstone of one of these other series.
That's right.
Justin Allgaier and Crafton have done a great job doing that. So good job, buddy. Congratulations. Talking about vets, Kyle Busch had this post last week, he raced with Brexton in a winged car at Millbridge. And I think this is the first time they raced together. They did a little family photo. Dad aura was the post. I think it's pretty cool. I know, Kevin, obviously you're going to get to race with Keelan here soon. And I don't know. I just love that because it's hard in sports to get to that point. So
Cute family photo.
Yeah, and I think for Kyle and being in that same situation, being able to race with your son and being able to Kyle's still driving on Sundays, obviously, but being able to have that experience and have Brexton have Kyle to go to and look up to and race the same vehicle there's nothing much better than that. So kudos to them for being able to have that time together and enjoy it.
And he put the other photos of other iconic sporting father-son duos. That's neat. Yeah. Very cool.
Do you think that, because I know your daughter dressed up as you?
Yes,
you guys
for
were both
career
doing
day.
broadcast together. That'd be wild.
That'd be wild. I probably will encourage her to not pursue TV.
Listen, this guy, so Carson Holsevar, you never know what
This
he's
is
going to
wild.
do. Whether it's a Hawaiian shirt on, while he's doing the driver-only broadcast or the content from Miami. He bought a truck. Not just any truck. He bought
What in the world?
Facebook Marketplace. Yeah. Adjust your glasses, Kev, because
Is
that's
that
real.
a race truck?
No, it is a
Street legal car?
street legal
Truck?
I mean, I guess technically it's Earnhardt, but Skinner drove the
He
three
did.
trucks, so it's really a Skinner truck.
That's confusing.
But he bought that on Facebook Marketplace.
Okay.
Man, I wonder how much that thing costs on Facebook Marketplace.
Not as
I mean,
much
I
as it
wonder
probably
where
should.
I guess you just meet somewhere and trade the stuff out, or do
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
they mail it to you, or
Well,
how
I
do you
mean,
get
that was in
truck?
Mooresville, so
Okay.
Yeah, you just
it's
look in
probably
your
close.
area at the listings.
All right.
And you go meet the person.
I'm not sure that I've ever bought anything. I know I haven't bought anything on Facebook Marketplace, so
There's
I'm
all
curious.
kinds of stuff for
well,
sale.
yeah. I mean, everyone knows where you live.
Is
now,
this a
'cause
trustworthy
Yeah,
system?
I think so.
Yeah, you mean in a public place, you know.
What have
so-
you bought on Facebook Marketplace?
No, I don't. I don't.
You've never bought anything, have you?
I have not, but I've looked around
like it's
on
just
it.
this system, and you guys
is,
don't know.
but
You guys don't even know anything about
I've
it.
sold stuff.
It's a great system.
I've sold stuff on
I've
there.
never
I know people
bought
who
anything
do.
on it.
Actually,
It's
one
so
time,
awesome.
wait, talk about one time my cousin from
awesome.
Michigan bought like some parts for his Skyline and called me. He's like, "Hey man, can you meet this random guy down in South Carolina and grab me these parts?" I'm like, "If I don't return, my mom is
You
gonna
know
kill
why.
you." Yeah, it's on
Right.
you. My mom's gonna kill you.
I think
Yeah.
it's a good
So-
place to buy furniture. No, I do know that. I know a lot of people who've bought furniture.
But you've
off
never
there.
experienced it yourself.
I have not,
And
Kevin.
it can't be great.
You know what? I'm
unless
going to go buy something today and just
Okay,
report
please.
back.
You know what I did buy? Oh,
See
I
if you
did
can find a Skinner truck.
Hang on, I bought a Bobby Gill door
What?
from one of his old late models. Bobby Gill, who passed away last year. I bought one of his doors
Off of Facebook
there you
Marketplace.
Yeah, a guy from Hendrick has it. I gotta go pick it up. So
Nice.
yeah,
So you
Okay.
actually haven't
I haven't picked it up. I bought
haven't
it.
gone
though.
through the process yet.
We already made the transaction, so it's
Okay.
mine. All
You
right.
own it, just don't have it.
Yeah, that's right. And that's this week's Mamba Social Sips. No mailbag for you this week, but you can leave a voicemail at 805-317-4175 or the mailbag harvickhappyhour4@gmail.com.
There you go. Yes, send us a note. Send us a voicemail. Time now, guys, for our last call.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas, 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario, new customers only. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gambling resources, see dkng.co/audio. NASCAR is not responsible for this promotion and used under license.
And before we get into our picks for this week, let's take a look at the best bet of the weekend, courtesy of DraftKings.
Yeah, so it's the winner again. And Denny
That's
Hamlin.
bad.
Denny Hamlin was plus 600. So we've had some pretty wild
That's good money
numbers that
for
are
Denny
big
Hamlin.
numbers that have popped up. That one's a little smaller than some of the other ones. So he was obviously up there on the list of favorites. But Denny Hamlin, that was my pick right from the beginning. I must say that you guys are sucking
Boy.
pretty bad
Yeah,
right now.
We'll get to that in a moment.
Yeah, but take the checkered flag with DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code Harvick. That's code Harvick for new customers to get $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours.
There you go.
Hasn't
you
been-
putting your crown on.
Yeah, it
That
hasn't been
crown
mine
does
in
not fit your head.
We are not doing so well with our
No,
crowns. in
according
terms
to
of
the standings here, the crown is not mine.
Here you can see the standings. We do have them up now. Kevin is the leader in the clubhouse, 39.
I'm kicking ass.
He
That's pretty
is.
much what I'm doing.
He really is. I have 18.
Feel free
you're
to
15.
pick somebody that can win.
I don't even know what to say.
I-
We've had decent picks.
I want to talk shit, but according to the standings, I
Yeah.
cannot say anything. to
According to the
anybody.
standings, you just suck and you're last.
Yeah,
There's no way to hide from last. You're either first or last.
or you're second. That's what she is.
She just second doesn't matter.
Second doesn't matter. First loser is
That's right.
what second is.
That's right.
The winner, though, over the weekend was Denny, and I want to grade this burnout because it was a pretty good one.
This was
I
a
thought.
good one.
I was watching this. I'm like, ooh, Kevin's
And
got.
he was not happy that people are saying that he copied Kyle Larson. He's like, just for a reminder, I did this back in about 2015
Yeah, let the man have his
around the
moment.
racetrack. But he did this burnout, said he should have probably done that in second gear. I didn't know anybody did burnouts in first gear, to be perfectly honest
well,
with
that's
you.
why it lost all the momentum down
And
the
I
back,
think
right?
that I thought everybody knew that you were supposed to put it in second gear when you did burnouts, but he did admit today that he needed to put the car in second gear because it was pretty good right up until here. The smoke started to fade after he got on the straightaway, but he went all the way around the racetrack doing this burnout.
It's cool.
So I really believe that this is, I mean, his and Chase Elliott's burnouts, it has to be a tie at this point.
Oh, we have a tie now.
A tie?
I like this.
I think
Yep.
so.
There we go.
I can't make it worse. And the guy did a burnout all the way around the racetrack.
I mean, and that's literally what you told everybody that was going to have to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So for someone to get better than this, I'm going to have to see 1.5 miles.
I want to see their whole car catch on fire. I want to see their car burn to the ground or something. We need something
that's what
spectacular.
It's gonna take to top it.
We need your mud flaps to catch on fire at a road course or
You
something.
might need like a nose-to-nose situation. Double burnouts like you and Tony did one time.
Yeah, that was cool.
That was cool. I don't know why anyone would do it right now, but
yeah, that was. I mean, he was retiring, so trying to include him on the win celebration. So I tried to get him to get into my car. He would not get out of his car.
Why?
I wanted him to do the burnouts in the car.
Oh, that would have been cool.
He would not do it.
Well,
he would not do it.
the bar is high now to top Denny Hamlin and Chase Elliott's burnouts so far this year. Next opportunity to do one is in a few days at Darlington. So who do we believe will be victorious?
I'm not going first because I'm kicking your asses so bad that I'm not going first. Wow. So you're the loser. Go ahead.
I like this. I like this because watch what's going to happen now. It's going to start going the other way. I'm going with Kyle Larson.
Oh,
yeah.
Good choice.
Yeah. Well, first of all, you've been picking him first all year.
Yeah.
So it's hard to pick him.
Yeah.
But he also has one of the best throwbacks, second year in a row. He's got the Frosted Flakes, one
Terry
Labonte from 03.
Oh, yeah, you did that announcement.
Yeah, we did the announcement.
That was cool.
Terry's going to be there. Kyle really wanted to win in the Cornflakes car for him. Now that this one is the last one he won in, means a little bit more. I think the racing gods are going to sprinkle
You do realize that Kyle doesn't care what he's driving. He cares about everything that he's driving, and he thinks he can win in everything that he's driving.
He's the best driver in the world, and
he doesn't care. What I'm saying is he doesn't care more or less about one or the other. He cares about them all because he thinks they're all winners.
I'm just telling you what the man said. You know, he said it means a lot to him.
I love it. Yeah. No, that's pretty cool. I mean, Kyle has a great respect for a lot of the history.
Listening to those two guys talk was really cool. It was like old guard that respect this new. It was a lot of respect back and forth. It was badass.
Good pick out of you. I'm also taking someone from the Hendrick Motorsports camp, William Byron, who I feel like after this weekend they'll have a little additional motivation for him after the tough pit stops. And no,
I don't know.
No, like you're saying,
maybe he's gonna pick a Toyota.
Maybe, yeah. I think you're right. I think I'm gonna pick a Toyota. I'm gonna pick Denny Hamlin.
Look.
2 weeks in a row.
We're recording that. Did you see me guess that?
2 weeks in a row.
I know where his head's at.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, Martinsville's and Darlington, you could go back and forth as to which one is his best track.
Yeah, well.
Yep.
So,
well, I look forward to seeing how these picks do. And
I hope you guys make up some points at some point. It won't be any fun if it's not close.
No, I know. Well,
here's the thing.
We're doing our best.
Is when the playoffs start, it resets anyways.
Wait a second. So
we got playoff
let's see. You get 6 points for. Is that right, Tyler? You get 6 points for every win. Is that correct?
I think that's right.
10
for the win.
What are you reading?
So right now you're at least 2 wins behind. So
yeah, don't worry. If I can fall this far behind, I can make it up.
It's a long season. Guys. Yeah, 6 for P2.
Right now you suck though, and I like saying that.
I can't say anything back because he's right.
Yeah.
It's been awful.
Can't say anything.
It's been awful for 2 years. That's why when they decided to do the points thing, I'm like, I'm cooked. This is ass.
All right, guys.
Send us home, Kaitlyn.
This Thursday, you have a cool interview with Bubba Wallace that we'll get to hear in its full context, right?
We do. And I was able to sit down with Bubba at Martinsville and do a nice little sit-down feature with him. Love hearing the confidence out of that man right now. And it is a whole new person. I wish people could know Bubba like I've been fortunate enough to get to be around him and know him. He is a great human being. But right now, he's performing well. He's got a great situation and can't wait for everybody to listen.
We'll have to check that out on Thursday. This has been fun. Everyone continue to subscribe on YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. Leave us a 5-star review. Leave a word, maybe a kerfuffle, something for the weekend in Darlington. We'll figure it out.
We need a word.
We need a word. All right, we'll see you guys after Darlington.